There is a curve most people never see. A curve that bends not in space, but in time. In memory, in silence. You ask why he pulled away. But the better question is, where did the echo begin? Because, before the distance, there was a pause. And before the pause, a question that wasn't asked. We believe people vanish like smoke, that they drift off, disappear, grow cold. But that's not quite true, is it? They don't vanish. They fold into silence. They watch. They wonder. They wait. Not for you. Not for love. Not even for clarity. But for the self they lost while trying to be understood. He didn't pull away because of something you said, or something you didn't say. He pulled away because the mirror became too honest, and the silence too loud. You stopped reaching. He stopped returning. You thought it was about words, but it never island. Words only scratch the surface. The soul speaks in sighs and glances and unfinished sentences. He began watching you the moment you became quiet. Not just on the outside, but inside. There is a kind of silence that feels like a room that's just been left. Still warm, still scented with presence, but empty. He pulled away because he felt something was ending. Not love, not trust, but something deeper. The ritual, the subtle ceremony of two people dancing around a truth too heavy to name. Odd. You want to know why he's still watching you? Because you changed. Not in your face, not in your laugh, but in your weight. Not the body, the soul. You began carrying yourself differently. Less like a question, more like a mystery. He didn't pull away from you. He pulled away from the version of himself that felt unready. And now, he watches, because something in you refuses to call him back. And that is rare. And people often chase what runs, but they never forget what stands still. Stillness frightens us, because it reflects. And reflection, well, it tells no lies. He watches because you stopped performing. Because you stopped explaining, stopped giving reasons, stopped folding your truth into something he could swallow easily. You see, the soul isn't loud. It doesn't beg. It doesn't text in all caps or ask for closure. It simply waits. In rooms of quiet, in long walks, in pages left unwritten. And when he saw that, he couldn't look away. And this isn't a story of regret. It's a story of return, not to each other, but to the self. Because what pulls people apart is not pain, not betrayal, not even pride. It's forgetting. Forgetting the silent music that played when no one was talking. Forgetting how your presence wasn't a performance, but a presence. You see, he pulled away when you stopped needing him. And started being not charming, not agreeable, not clever, but real. You stopped shrinking, and he wasn't ready for the full version of you. So he stepped back, but he didn't disappear. He watches because part of him wonders, what if silence wasn't the ending? What if it was the invitation? There is a loneliness that feels like hunger. But there is another that feels like truth. You found the second. That's why you feel the ache, but not the panic. The longing, but not the fear. You've grown into your own silence. And now he stands outside it, watching, wondering how you made it into a home. The fire between people doesn't always burn out. Sometimes it turns inward, becomes warmth, not flames, becomes knowing, not needing. He sees that in you now, that you're not waiting, not bitter, not pretending to be unaffected, but simply present. still, unfolded. And that presence? It haunts him, softly, lovingly, like a scent that reminds him of something he lost before he knew it mattered. I. He pulled away, because his soul whispered, not yet, but now he watches, because something in you whispers, I'm no longer chasing. And perhaps that's the real ending. Not a slammed door, not a final message, but a gaze from afar that says, I remember, and I forgive, but I walk on. So if you still wonder why he pulled away, ask yourself instead, who did I become after he left? And if the answer is quieter, deeper, truer, then maybe it was never a loss, only a curve, a beautiful, necessary curve most people never see.